as the Sooners in their Halloween night game against Kansas State start the game well, end the game well, but in between, let's put it this way, it was pretty nerve-wracking for most of the 84,000, including yours truly, in attendance at the ball game, as OU has to fight for survival in the fourth quarter, but they do win 42-30, thus upping their record to 5-3 overall. 3-1, by the way, in the Big 12, while Kansas State, they dropped to 4-3 and 3-2 in the Big 12. Big win for Oklahoma on homecoming night. On a night, of course, it was Halloween, so a lot of tricks, a lot of treats, and there were definitely a lot of tricks, a lot of which that went against Oklahoma. But the treat, of course, for OU was a victory, but they had to earn it. It was not easy. It looked easy in the beginning because the Sooners, after the first 8 minutes of this game, actually led 21-0. Offensively, couldn't do anything wrong at all. Ran the ball well, especially passed the ball well, and the defense was lights out. Kansas State could not muster any offense after the first 3 drives of the game. However, late in the first quarter when Oklahoma had to punt, that's when the game began to change. Kansas State made some adjustments. I give Bill Snyder and that coaching staff at KSU credit for making the adjustments. Oklahoma, I also thought, did not play with near as much intensity at that stage of the game as they did to start off. Kansas State began to run the ball well. The Wildcats also started to throw the ball well, and they ran different formations. They would run the Wildcat formation, and they would do that continuously and have success. They started to see weaknesses in the OU defense, and even though it was only 28-9 in favor of Oklahoma at the half, even though it looked like a 19-point lead would be commanding for OU, you still had the feeling that Oklahoma did not have this game wrapped up. And in the third quarter, Kansas State started chipping away at the Oklahoma lead. I want to go and give you a stat on this ball game to explain why Sooner fans were so nervous, okay? Late in the first quarter when Oklahoma led 21-0 and had to punt, okay? This is what Kansas State did the next 5 times they had the ball. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown, touchdown, kickoff return for a touchdown. The next 5 times Kansas State had the ball after being down 21-0, in that situation in the game, they would end up scoring 5 different times, 4 of which were touchdowns. It made it 28-23 Oklahoma late in the third quarter. And at that stage, you can hear a pin drop in the OU fan section because they were stunned. They couldn't believe it. What should have been a game well in hand, what looked like was going to be a 63-0 game, the way it started, turned out to have a lot of drama, a lot more drama than it should have had. I thought the key moment in the game was late in the third quarter with OU on the attack, leading by 5. Landry Jones hits Ryan Broyles for a 36-yard touchdown, but it was nullified because of a holding penalty. OU had already had 1st and 20 before that. Now it was going to be 1st and 30. Touchdown wiped off. And then OU is called for an unsportsmanlike conduct on Ryan Broyles. So, a first. I've never seen this in my entire life. I'm sure it's happened more than once, but I've never seen it. 1st and 45 for the Sooners in their own territory. And then the next play OU would run, I've never heard Gaylord Memorial Stadium boo as loud as they did. OU calls a running play, and it only nets them 3 yards. So they have 2nd and 42, and it was the end of the third quarter. And maybe that was a good thing for Oklahoma that the quarter ended. It allowed them to regather their thoughts, and basically the next 2 plays to start the fourth quarter, Oklahoma would make up for that 2nd and very long. They got a nice pass play on 2nd and 42, but it was still about third and very long. And then Landry Jones hit Ryan Broyles for a pretty long pass play. Broyles ended up using his quickness, his speed, and kind of tippy-toed along the sidelines, got the first down. Oklahoma had 1st and 45, but 3 plays later, Broyles made up for his unsportsmanlike conduct mistake, and Oklahoma kept the drive going and would eventually score a touchdown. And even though Kansas State would score on a kickoff return on the ensuing series, Oklahoma, when they got the ball, when they needed the big plays the most, Landry Jones and the offense stepped up, and the running game also stepped up for Oklahoma on that next drive, and Oklahoma would eventually score again to make it 42-30, and that's how the game would wind up. Again, this was a ball game that Oklahoma should have had wrapped up from the beginning. They started off well. That first quarter, it looked like they could beat anybody in the country. But that second and third quarter, Oklahoma looked like they could lose to the average football team in the country because they did not play very well. Kansas State made the adjustments and did not quit. You have to say that about Bill Snyder's team. They showed a lot of character and class, and they did not quit. And because of that, they were right in this ball game with OU to the very end. So Kansas State, they lost the game, but they're still going to have a pretty good chance to represent the North in the Big 12 championship game, just because I think the North is that wide open, and K-State's going to have a pretty favorable schedule to maybe win the North, even if they were to go 5-3 in the North. But we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and go over the 4 keys to the game that I reviewed on the matchup show. Number 1, contain Daniel Thomas, the Kansas State running back. I'm going to go thumbs off because in the beginning I thought OU did more than contain him. I thought they literally stopped him. After the first 2 drives of Kansas State, they had negative 10 yards of total offense. But in the second and third quarters, Daniel Thomas and the running game along with the passing game got moving, and Oklahoma had a hard time containing Daniel Thomas after that. We'll go thumbs off because OU got off to the good start and they did hold him to under 100 yards, but Thomas did at times hurt Oklahoma, so thumbs off there. Number 2, Landry Jones, this is your team. Go thumbs up for Oklahoma, way up in this category. Jones, 4 touchdown passes, no turnovers, nearly 300 yards of passing. Great job by Landry Jones, and more importantly, he came through in the fourth quarter when his team needed him the most, when Kansas State was seizing the momentum. That was Jones in the fourth quarter making the big completions, made some big third down plays as well. Landry Jones stepped up in the game. Great job by the stash guy. Now, number 3, win by special means. I'm going to go thumbs off, okay? I should go thumbs down in this situation because of the long kickoff return that OU gave up to Brandon Banks. We talked about it in the pregame show. Banks is dangerous. He's had 3 returns for touchdowns, make it 4 because of the return that he had in the fourth quarter of the game. It allowed Kansas State to hang in. But if I'm going to criticize Oklahoma for giving up that kickoff return, I have to praise them for the punt return that Brian Broyles had early in the game, which gave OU great field position. It led to their second touchdown. And also, have to praise OU for blocking 2 extra points as well. And then, number 4, no let up. I'm going to go thumbs up. I said OU needed to get that good start, smack K-State in the mouth, make that immediate impact. How about 21 early points to start the game? Those 21 points turned out to be pivotal because K-State was on the comeback trail and made it a ball game, so OU needed that good start. It turned out to be a major factor. On some side notes, outstanding game by Brian Broyles and also by DeJuan Miller, who might be the new second go-to guy for Landry Jones. DeJuan Miller played outstanding, number 24 for Oklahoma, had a wonderful game, and caught the second touchdown pass from Landry Jones. So terrific job by the OU receivers. And DeMarco Murray did not play at 100%, but he was valuable, scored 3 touchdowns. He was a valuable threat receiving and also running the ball. Better game for the OU offensive line as well. So OU survives, they hold on. And one more stat to throw your way. 2005, 2006, 2008, and this year. What do those years have in common? Those were all seasons recently that Oklahoma has lost to Texas, okay? Seasons they've lost to Texas. But in games after the Texas loss in conference play in those 4 seasons, Oklahoma's record is 19-1. So that tells you that Oklahoma still keeps their mind focused on football, and they don't let the Texas losses in those 4 seasons, including this year, get them down. So good job by the Sooners. Up next for Oklahoma, it's the final game against the North this year for the Sooners as they travel to Lincoln to take on the other Big Red, Nebraska. That'll be a 2:30 kickoff between the Sooners and the Huskers. We'll have our weekly matchup show and the Big 12 rankings show both coming up later in the week. Again, Oklahoma 42 and Kansas State 30. It wasn't pretty, but it was a Sooner win. Take it easy.